Trying to make it in whatever you do requires a lot of thinking and brain power on top of the craft that you're trying to hone in on. We're going to go through how you can just go through the brain dead approach of becoming successful in anything that you want to do, bypassing that whole thinking process. First of all, I'm RK. I help young aspiring creators monetize their craft in a fulfilling way. That's something you're interested in, click on the first link down below. I would love to have a conversation with you. Everyone nowadays is empowering the younger audience to think for themselves. And I know this comes from a place that is inherently good, but I feel like there's a major flaw in this advice that's given on a day-to-day basis. Especially if you're young, 95% of young people nowadays haven't had the experience in the craft that they're trying to hone in on, and they haven't had the business experience, the marketing experience to know what are the right decisions to make. Think about it, right? Say someone who has a fully established business, they know all of the things that they should have done. They've probably made so many mistakes. The more growth you have, the more mistakes that you've made. If they give you advice on what to do, that would be more effective than if you made the decisions yourself. Because a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And most of us inherently know this concept that the decisions that we are going to make might not be the best because we don't have that experience, that life experience yet. And this causes a lot of self-doubt and anxiety when it comes to making decisions for ourselves. Especially for me when I was younger, it can feel quite lonely trying to make decisions for ourselves and search for autonomy. So today we are going to go through the thinking process of how to become successful without having to have that anxiety behind making decisions for yourself. So step 1, only focus on the problems that you want to solve. Leave the rest to education. Find out the problems that you love to solve on a day-to-day basis. This is the part where you have to do the most thinking, and then you can switch your brain off. What are things that you get into a flow state with and you end up doing for hours and hours and you don't even feel tired after? So write some of those things down. You probably know this, right? There's certain subjects at school that you need to put effort into to concentrate. There was probably 1 or 2 subjects in school that just felt easier for you, just felt more natural for you to do. Possibly those are the problems that you want to solve. Those are the types of problems that you want to solve. So an example of this would be if you wanted to become a YouTuber, there are problems that come with being a YouTuber. You click record, you spend a half an hour recording. This happened to me. And then you realize the audio wasn't even recording and now you have to re-record. Or if you're a coder, there's a bug in your code and you have to scroll through 1,000 lines of code to find out where this one little fault is. Which of these problems seems enticing to you, depending on the work that you're doing? Find the work that you get into a flow state with and then see what kind of problems you like solving in that flow state. What kind of problems do most people be like, I don't really want to do this? You kind of get excited when you hear about it. So there are a lot of people out there who are like, I'm not really a designer. I just really don't like knowing what colors to pick for posters that I'm making or knowing what shapes to use for the branding that I'm doing. But then that seems like a problem that I would love to solve. So now we know what problems we're solving. We got to leave the rest up to education. Who are some people, educational places that are solving the problems that you just picked out for yourself, that are solving the same problems that you want to? So this could be someone on YouTube that is solving the problems that you are doing. So if I'm a coder and I like solving coding problems, are there YouTubers out there that are really making an impact on the world, solving the problems that I like to solve? So say I want to be a piano tuner. Is there educational institutes for piano tuners? What are some pioneers in the problem-solving framework that you just chose? Do they provide education? So it's as simple as that. Find the problems that you want to solve. Find someone who can teach you how to solve these problems and make something out of yourself solving these problems. Turn your brain off, listen to their advice until you get to where they are, and then you move on to the next thing. You go deeper. You don't have the experience yet to know how to make something out of yourself in the problems that you want to solve yet. So an example is, say you're a content creator, right? I talked to you before about the kind of problems that you can have. And I've found out that the winning idea right now is to create content that are helping people and providing value, have a niche, create niche videos on that niche, and provide a service that is helping people. And the target is make 250 videos on this niche topic about your niche service, and you will make it in the thing that you want to do. This was the advice given to me by so many different people in so many different ways that are really killing it in the content creator space right now. I'm just starting out. I'm going to follow their advice blindly. I know the problems that I want to solve, and I'm going to rinse it until it doesn't work for me anymore. If it doesn't work, I'm going to move on. How can I solve these problems in a different way? I'm looking into mentorship. I'm looking into education. I'm looking into courses. once I get to the place that I want to get, I'm a content creator now, and then I'm gonna go deeper into what I want to do. I feel like purpose is kind of like an onion, right? And onions have layers. Your current layer right now could become a content creator and have leverage so that you can sell services and help people. So we get to that and we follow this advice and we peel that layer off. Now we have this other layer. You're never gonna get to the middle unless you peel back these layers of purpose yet. Another thing that you need to understand with purpose is that once you peel off this layer, you need to maintain it, otherwise it is going to grow back. So say one of my purposes was right now, I want to have an aesthetic body, right? So I work hard, I get this aesthetic body. And then my next purpose is I want to teach people fitness. So I start teaching people fitness, but then I fully focus on this teaching of the fitness. I look in the mirror like 2 or 3 months later, and then I see that, oh, I kind of have a gut now. And this purpose layer is kind of growing back, and I need to peel it back before I can go into the next one. So it is easier to maintain once you have got the gains, but you need to maintain these purpose layers that you have peeled off. So we know what we have to do. We got to pick the problems that we want to solve. We got to find people that are going to educate us, and we're just going to rinse their advice because we don't have the experience yet to know what works and what doesn't work. We still going to have to make decisions for ourselves, but how can we make decisions for ourselves logically instead of using our emotions to dictate where we're going? Because if we use our emotions to dictate all our decisions, it's not beneficial in the long run. So there's 5 steps to doing this. First, if you're going to make a decision that's going to push you off your path or is not aligned to your goals, write it down on the top of a notes. Like you pick out the notes app, write it down on the top of the notes app, right? That's step 1. Number 2, what is the actual problem that you're facing? So an example would be, say I write down, I want to change the format of my videos from changing from talking head to something more edited, and I wanted to have like crazy effects and everything. The problem would be I'm not getting enough views, and I feel like that would help me get more views and more attention so I can spread my message. Number 3, now that we have our problem, now that we have our question in hand, number 3 is write down all the things that I can do, all the compromises that I can do to achieve the same goal. So it could be, I could add certain elements of editing every now and then slowly grow until all my content's edited. I could just not edit my videos at all because I know that I'm trying to build an authentic audience who's here for low dopamine educational content and not that high Mr. Beastie entertainment kind of content. Another option could be every 5 videos I make a video that's more edited. Now we have all the options. This is where all the dopamine goes away. What is one that causes the least change in our lives? So why this is important is because we can't make these big changes in plans because we still need to track progress and see if this thing that we've changed is working or not. So take action on the thing that causes the least change in your life right now. So now we have that out of the way. We know how to make logical decisions. We know how to become successful without using our brains. And we know the problems that we want to solve. When you want to be somewhere, most of the time you can't reach the people that are going to give you the advice that's going to pull you up to where they are. So if I want to be like Pharrell Williams, I can't really talk to Pharrell right now, right? I'm nowhere near his status in order for him to consider a conversation with me. So I'm going to teach you how you can leverage the people that you know and get to the point where you can consult with these big people and get advice from them. So this whole, you need to get the mentorship from the people that you want is quite hard, right? Because say you want to be the president, you can't just go straight to Obama or whoever the president is right now, right? First, you got to start small. Who's this one person on this journey of becoming the president that could teach you how to get to where they are? So say I'm a student right now and I want to get into politics. I want to become the president. Who can I leverage right now? So this could be someone in the student rep council. So I leverage them and I get to the point where I'm also a student rep now. And then who can I leverage and get mentorship? Maybe the president of the student rep council. So now I'm at the level of the president of the student rep council. I know how to talk to people. I know how to delegate. I know how to manage. I kind of understand the politics on an institutional level. Now I can go to my local MP. So then I get to the point where, okay, now I'm a local MP. I've learned how to be a local MP. Now I understand on a state level of the ways that I can help and the problems that I can solve. And then we keep going. Next we go to a federal level. Then we go to the whole of Australia. And then we go to the UN. And then we can become the president. It's quite an extreme example, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? People can only get you to where they are. But sometimes when you want to get to someone who's so far ahead, you can't reach them. You got to use these other people as like ladders to help you. Of course, you have to give something back. You have to give your time. You got to give your respect back to these people, these teachers, these mentors. But people can only get you to where they are right now. And that's also something very important when you are picking out who's the friends that are around you and the people that you get advice from. Do you see that these people in 2 years are going to be where you want to be as well? But then say When you progressively overload, your standards also progressively overload. And what it means for you to stick to your promises also progressively overloads. Another thing along this path, I don't know who does this, but I know this person, he's quite influential, and he has this thing called having an imaginary board meeting with the people that inspire you. So he would sit down and he would imagine in his head, he would have all the great leaders. He would have Abraham Lincoln, and then he would have, for innovation, he would have Steve Jobs. And then for creativity, he would have this other person that he really looks up to. It's kind of cliche, but he would be like, what would these people say to me? And it's good to go on your day-to-day basis. You probably hear it in movies and be like, what would blank do? What would this person do? If someone that I really look up to is, say, Bill Gates for his innovation, if I have a decision to make, I'll be like, what would Bill Gates do? It's quite powerful just asking yourself these questions and getting into these minds of other people and how they're perceived, because the way they're perceived is only because of their own self-image of themselves and how hard that they've worked. And if you can act in accordance to the ways that they're acting, you're going to get to their level. It's just going to take some time. In this whole process of turning your brain off and following this advice of people blindly because you don't have the experience, it's very easy to not be present in where you are right now. You can't negate and repress all the emotions that you are feeling. Who is living in the present right now? If you're so busy trying to live out the future, or you're so busy regretting the past, you need to just take a step back and understand that although you are putting in the work on a day-to-day basis, who's living in the present now? If you do kind of like the things that I'm talking about, I would love to have a conversation with you. Just click on the first link down below. On this journey of leveraging these people and becoming successful, it can be quite hard to know if you're on the right path. Click this video, I talk about it more in there. Thank you very much.